Good morning. It's Mikey V on Jammin'107.1 FM. I have a special guest via Zoom link. We're getting patched into the station, a paranormal investigator. Halloween is right around the corner. Over 20 years of experience. He's worked with shows like Paranormal Survivor, A Haunting, even helped with the Ghost Adventures team to find haunted locations. He's here to share his expertise on hauntings. We have Barry Pirro. What's happening?
Hey, Mikey. How's it going?
Oh, my gosh. I'm super excited for Halloween coming up. And it just got me thinking, how about a ghost investigator on the show? You came right up in all of our investigations. So you have all the background on this. Tell me, how'd you get started in all this?
I got started because I grew up in a haunted house.
Come on.
I'll tell you, I did. We moved into this house when I was a kid. I was about 11 years old.
Mm-hmm.
As soon as we moved in, lights were going on and off. The faucets were going on and off. My piano used to play by itself.
Really?
Yeah, that was the creepiest thing for me as a kid. It was my piano. It wasn't just the piano. It was my piano because I was the only one who played. We saw a man in the house. We used to see a little dog running around the house.
Oh my
ghost
gosh.
Dog. So growing up in that atmosphere and first being really afraid of it, but then being really sort of fascinated and saying, why is my house haunted? And what is this? And trying to figure it out. That's what led me to really become a paranormal investigator.
So how old were you when you decided, okay, I'm going to do this, paranormal investigator? When did you get started into really figuring that out?
I had read all the ghost books because, again, growing up in a house like this, you just are like, I'm not alone in this, and you want to really read up on it.
Yeah.
But I got into a group with two women who were both intuitive. That was called Katona Paranormal. And at the time, I was just holding the tape recorder to see, would we get ghost voices? And the first night out, we went to a house and I got this great ghost voice on my recorder.
Whoa.
Of a woman sort of screaming in the background as we were going around the house.
Whoa. I'm like creeped out right now. That's crazy. Oh my gosh.
And it is, it is creepy when you hear about it, but when you're actually there and once you realize, nothing can happen to you, that you just get really fascinated. And it's just really an interesting thing to be in these houses. And I get so many investigations, mostly private homes, that I don't have to be, I'm not making fun of people who go to like the abandoned lunatic asylum.
The real scary looking stuff, right?
Yeah, people do that, but I don't want to go out to some place that I don't know if there's actually anything there. When I'm getting people calling me and saying, I've seen a woman standing in my living room, or I see these ghosts in my house, things are flying around. So I do a lot of private investigations.
Talking with Barry Pirro, ConnecticutGhostHunter.com, and make sure you spell out Connecticut all together. We're going to take a quick break. I want to find out some more things about these recordings, though. All right, Barry? Barry Pirro, Connecticut Ghost Hunter, on the line with us. We'll be right back. We're back on Jam'107.7 with Barry Pirro, a Connecticut ghost hunter. Halloween's right around the corner. We're talking about his 20 years experience hunting ghost sightings, finding them, working on shows like Paranormal Survivor, Ghost Adventures, and more. Haunted Happenings is his book. So, Barry, we were talking about before getting recordings on audio. You hear voices, objects flying around. Have we been able to get anything like this documented before, or how's that work out?
When I do my investigations, I record the whole time I'm there. So I have these recordings of the ghost voices. Those are on my website under EVP examples.
Okay.
EVP is electronic voice phenomenon. So you can listen to those. I've got some videos. One was recorded in Oxford, Connecticut. Amazing video of a ghost girl.
Whoa. Okay.
And, the woman who came up to me, it was during a lecture, said, you want to see a video of a ghost girl in my house? I'm like, yeah, I'll take a look. Thinking it's just going to be, because people think,
they see something.
Orb,
yeah,
every orb or every little bug on the lens is a ghost. But instead, it was a real girl with long, dark hair wearing a white gown. And
oh my gosh.
That was incredible. They actually saw this girl too, this ghost girl in their house 4 times.
Wow.
So I get a lot of evidence, and then I do a lot of the research to see, well, what was on the property there.
Okay.
In that case, there was a house in the 1800s. So I do real deep investigations to see what the background is of these places.
Now, tell me this. So that was in Oxford, Connecticut. I grew up in Woodbury, where I've heard there's a lot of paranormal things, but the stations were in Eastern Connecticut. We have the Shore, we have Mystic. If you ever just go somewhere, Can you kind of feel that something's there?
Oh, yeah. On my website, I think I say, if your house is haunted, I will know it.
Yeah.
It's not like I walk in the house and it's like, Poltergeist, the little lady in Poltergeist, this haunted. But I do walk through each room, and I actually tell the clients, don't tell me too much.
Yeah.
Don't tell me that you're seeing a woman in your, bedroom, because I'll go in the bedroom and I can't help but know that. So I don't know much going in, and I will pinpoint all the places that I'm feeling things. And 9 times out of 10, I'm correct. They'll say, this is the exact place where we're seeing the ghost.
Oh my gosh. This is like mind blowing to me. I wouldn't be able to walk somewhere knowing, that place is haunted like you've been into. Diving into what you do now. You do a lot of lectures. You have a book out there, ConnecticutGhostHunter.com. I'm going to make sure we spell Connecticut completely out. Tell me about what you're doing.
Well, I do a lot of investigations. I just did one at Marlborough Tavern. It's hard to say that word. Marlborough Tavern, Marlborough, Connecticut.
That's close to us.
Built in 1740. That was amazing because, first of all, the place itself is really cool because it's from the 1700s.
Right.
And so there's been a lot of people there that have gone through. They actually had this really interesting thing where the attic prisoners going to Newgate Prison would be held in the attic. So maybe they would be bringing them from New York City. They'd stay overnight up in the attic, and then they would bring them to the prison. And I discovered Newgate Prison is a creepy place in itself. The prison actually was a mine. And they would actually send the prisoners into the mine down a long ladder, and that's where they would stay, in a dark place. So these guys staying overnight were probably terrified that they're going to this place.
Yeah,
that energy is imprinted there on that tavern. And I got a great ghost voice there. One of the best I've ever gotten.
What would you hear like in that voice though? What would they say?
When you get a ghost voice on a recorder, you don't actually hear it in the room with you. So as I was listening back, one of the investigators I invited along was a young woman, and she starts to talk, and this man's voice, clear as day, says, "Babyface."
What?
Yeah. And you could hear him. He sounds like he's in the room. And I'm like, and that's an old expression, baby face, from like the 20s.
Yeah.
Like, hey, baby face, you'd say that to a pretty girl.
Right.
It was also a song from the 1920s. So I actually asked another investigator who was also recording to check that part. And there was no voice on her recorder. It was just on my recorder.
Oh my God.
Clear as day. I'm going to put that one up on my website because it's one of my favorites.
Yeah, that would be awesome. I'd love to see that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you hear it on the recording, so there's no way to actually like kind of talk back, or can you go and say something and then maybe listen back?
You can't talk back, but what I'm doing the whole time is I'm asking questions. It's like the ghost shows. If you've ever seen the ghost shows, you're saying, is there anyone here? What is your name? What did you used to live in this house? And you're asking questions. And sometimes you're getting answers back to those questions. Once I remember in a house, I asked, who is the president? And it told me the name of, I actually don't remember.
That's okay.
So you're putting me on the spot here.
Yeah.
But it told me the name of a president from like way back. So I was able to kind of
That's neat.
Ghost based on the president's name it told me.
Oh my gosh, my man. That's pretty crazy stuff.
Yeah.
I got to have you come to the station for sure. And you got to like walk around and do your thing.
Yeah, I'll poke around, see if anything's there.
It's definitely, we're based in Ledyard, and there's a lot of history in town here as well. So that'd be really cool to find out. ConnecticutGhostHunter.com. Barry Pirro, a Connecticut paranormal investigator, is on the line. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back. But here's an example of something just scary that Barry has gotten on recording. This one says, "We're not dead." Check it out. Hear it? That's crazy. Or this one, "You missed me." I'm like freaked out right now. This one? Oh my God. That was at Barry's house. All right, we'll be right back. I want to find out what else Barry Pirro has in store for us. ConnecticutGhostHunter.com. A creepy day today for sure. ConnecticutGhostHunter.com. We have paranormal investigator Barry Pirro on the line. I was checking out his website. He has recordings of actual paranormal investigations of hearing a ghost say something back to him. Make sure to check that out. But he has a lot in store for us. Now, Barry, you have a great book out there too called Haunted Happenings, right? What do you talk about in that?
Sure. My book is called Haunted Happenings, A Ghost Hunter's Strangest Cases. And it's some of my favorite cases that I've done throughout my 20 plus year career doing this. And I've only got 11 copies left. This is not a sales pitch. Like,
okay, yeah.
While it's hot.
We were talking off the air about that. Yeah.
I literally have 11 left. So you can get that on my website, ConnecticutGhostHunter.com. And I'm talking about these specific cases that I really, am floored by myself, even though I conducted them.
Right.
I do have 2 demonic cases, and that's something that kind of creeped me out. I don't seek those out. And if somebody says they've got a demon in their house, I say, have fun with that, because I'm not coming over.
Oh, wow.
Just because I'm not a priest and I'm not a demonologist. But I do mention these 2 demon cases. One was in Enfield and one was in Kent.
Okay.
So I talk about those as well. Plus regular ghost cases of doppelgangers and all sorts of strange things.
Wow.
So it is a great book.
Yeah, my mind's blown right now by these things. Yeah. I feel like people, you know what I mean? Some people really do believe. Some people say it's hard to believe, but these things are out there. There's energy in the world that it creeps me out big time. But there's these really awesome seminars that you do. We were talking off the air that you're doing something at the Mark Twain House.
Oh, yeah, the Mark Twain House.
What are you doing there?
House. I take it back. It's at the Mark Twain Library.
Oh, there you go. Mark Twain Library. Yeah, because the house is, where is that again?
That's in Reading, Connecticut.
Yeah.
I'll be there October 25th at 7 p.m. And I'm giving a lecture on how to hunt ghosts. So if you want to learn how to do this yourself, this is the perfect one for you. I was joking before that this is usually something that they set up for teens.
Right.
Because libraries always try to get teens in. So I sort of wrote it for that purpose, but I only get adults. So I room like 50 adults and maybe 1 teenager.
Yeah.
So anybody can come, but I talk about the equipment to use, the best way to get voices, the way I get them,
That's
things
neat.
to watch out for. Yeah.
Now, do you feel like, does anything ever follow you after you leave somewhere? Do you ever run into something like that?
I had that happen just once, because it's not a common thing. People always think they're going to be followed home by a ghost. That's not true. It's really uncommon. I did an investigation actually in upstate New York. And I was coming home, and as I got in the car and I'm driving, and I felt it in the car. It felt like my car was haunted. It's like when I go to a haunted house and I feel it. I'm like, no, this thing is in the car with me. So I kept saying, you got to go, you got to leave. I'm talking out loud like a crazy person in my car. And when I got to the Newburgh Beacon Bridge, I felt it leave. It might have been the water, actually, that kind of gave off some sort of energy that pushed it out, but it left. That was the only time I've ever had that happen.
I have like chills right now. And we can learn all this at, you do tons of readings too, and your whole schedule is up on your website. Again, that's ConnecticutGhostHunter.com. Make sure you spell out Connecticut, not CT. Barry Pirro here, paranormal investigator, 20 years experience. Now, have you done anything out this way, Mystic, New London, Groton area yet?
I have not. And again, it's mostly private.
Right, you're getting calls.
And a lot of them tend to be where I'm giving my lectures. People will come up to me afterward, or they'll hear about me from people who have attended my lectures, and they'll call me. So I haven't done anything in that area, but I've been, all over the place. I've got so many cases that I've done. One that comes to mind, and I wanted to mention it because it's a cautionary tale too.
Yeah.
I did one in Danbury, Connecticut, and a woman lived in this house since she was a child. And when she was a teenager, like high school teenager, she did the Ouija board, which you're never supposed to use. Do not use Ouija boards.
You heard that, kids. Don't use the Ouija board. All right.
Yeah. So she was in this like little part of her room that was sort of off to the side. And she and her friend heard stomping of feet in the room, like somebody with boots, and a man cursing. And after that, something came through the Ouija board. This is in my book as well.
What?
But she would see this black figure with red eyes in the house.
Oh my God.
One time she went downstairs, she saw it upside down. She saw this head upside down in a doorway looking at her.
Hell no.
Yeah, and then she moved back into the house with her fiance and her young son, and stuff still kept happening. And then they called me to not only investigate, but to get rid of it, because I always do clearings. To move these spirits.
I was going to ask you that. Yeah. What do you do?
Yeah.
When you find that out?
Yeah. Well, in that case, it's not a ghost. It's more of an evil entity, but I was able to get rid of it. And I always do clearings when I do investigations.
Oh, wow. That's just mind-blowing stuff right there. Seeing an object like that coming out of a board. So Ouija board is a big no-no, you say?
Yeah. Don't use them.
Oh, wow. Oh, my gosh. All right. I mean, I really appreciate your time. I know you're super busy. You have a lot of seminars coming up to look out for. You've seen them on TV shows. Barry, one more time, tell everybody where they can find you and what you got coming up.
My website is ConnecticutGhostHunter.com. I've got a lot of lectures coming up, so you could look on the homepage of my website for that because everything is listed there. And I also have a podcast called Haunted Happenings. That is on iTunes and everywhere else. You'll find it wherever you look. And of course, my book, Haunted Happenings, which we've talked about before. Absolute pleasure. And we got to get you in this building for sure. I would love to see if we have anything lurking around. Oh, I'd love to come over. Yeah. Barry Pirro right there. Now I'm officially freaked out. ConnecticutGhostHunter.com.